pretty nice so far. This is the village. There's some Indians there. See if we can spot these Indians here.
Do a fist bump with the beaver and still lost. Next one's down here. All right, well, that concludes the dance show for this afternoon. Now, if you are currently on tour, go back to where your tour guide box left off, and then the tour will resume. However, if you just now got here and have not yet had a tour, please may go back up to where you watch tickets, and that tour will be going out here shortly. But thank you all for coming. Hope you all have a wonderful day.
So especially whenever we're talking about stuff up here, I think this will be everybody that we have. So especially whenever we're talking about the finger weaving, the first method that I'll show you is actually going to be known as the oblique method. This is going to be the oldest and most traditional style of weave that you guys would see us completing. And we're actually going to weave different bits like seashells in here to be able to create the designs. Now we didn't have anything like glass beads before European contact, so that's why we had to trade with the coastal tribes to get different things like seashells, weave them into the design to be able to create the piece. But we weren't using things like commercial wool yarn either. You'd see that what we were actually weaving together to create something like this finger woven belt or garter was actually going to be bison fur. We did have mountain bison that were going to be up here in the area up until about the late 1790s. They went extinct in the Asheville forest area due to the fur trade. So if we didn't have any of this root bark, also known as dog's bane, milkweed, bull nettle, or anything like that, that we can be able to weave together and be able to make into our belts, sashes, garters, any sort of clothing that we wanted to weave. But if you want to put a little bit more variety in your designs, especially after we've got different things like commercial wool yarn, you'll be able to use a single woven method. Simple over and under that's going to give you these checked and plaid designs that we have up here in the pieces I'm holding, but also a display on the upper part of the bar. So whenever we're weaving these pieces, our ladies like Miss Leslie can become so talented that they can weave with up to 10 to 200 strands of yarn at one time. So this is an example of what 250 strands of yarn looks like whenever it's woven together. We'd sew these larger squares to something to, like with the sinew that we'll have up here in the area, make something like a blanket or a shawl. That'll take about 1 to 2 months to be able to complete. But especially whenever we're just weaving something like this individual square of these belts, it'll just take about a week to 2 weeks to be able to finish, depending on how long you're working on it. Now, with the different things like the loom work that you guys would see right up here to the area, we actually just prefer to use a loom, but we actually had a sort of weave that's a little bit like it. It's known as the double woven method that's up here behind me. This is a little bit more similar to what we'd see done in the traditional loom, but it's all done by hand up here. So Miss Leslie, she's just going to weave together those different colored strands of yarn and be able to get the different varieties like the lightning bolt, the double diamond, and then the dancing eagle that we have over there on the very end. But do we have any questions? What's your question?
How long would it take to like make the one you're working on? Like, how long would that normally take from start to finish?
So it took about a week to 2 weeks. I mean, especially whenever you're stringing up a belt is only going to take maybe about 15, 20 minutes if you're just doing it like all together and you already know what pattern you're going to do, what colors you're going to use, especially whenever we're using this bright, colorful yarn. But especially if you're like a learning weaver and you're doing something like that design that Miss Leslie's working on, it's a little bit more difficult, especially if you're trying to learn the different types of weaves. The oblique weave is the most difficult type of weave that you guys will see us doing, and only about 4 or 5 people can actually do this. So it's a very complex type of weave that we have done, and all these would be taught from generation to generation. And they are taught in our school system nowadays, but you'll see that a lot of those meanings and the designs have been lost over time. Yeah, do you have any other questions?
Can you move the most difficult one closer?
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to see what.
Oh, yeah, all these pretty glass beads that are in it.
Are you under a time restraint? Your tour?
No, not under a time restraint, but I mean, we're a little short staffed today,
Okay.
so I gotta get through before my next
Right.
tour starts up.
Can you
But
slow your spiel down a little bit
Oh,
more?
yeah, of course.
There
No,
you
We
go.
just get through a lot of information,
Okay.
you know, but if you guys ever want me to slow down or anything like that, more than welcome to do so. But whenever you guys are ready, we can head on down here to the next stop. That's gonna be our beadwork station.
Miss Leslie, you're doing a fine job.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You've done well.
And then also this big old piece of pottery, I'm actually going to purchase from her. You guys will see that this is a big old vase that she made, the biggest piece of pottery that she's ever made. Oh yeah, she does this all by hand. This is all made with nothing like a potter's wheel, nothing like paints or glazes would be used. She does this all by hand. So especially whenever we're using the different traditional methods, we're actually going to use something like the ball or the pinch pot to make something like a smaller scale piece of pottery. But that's actually what Miss T used to make that big old piece of pottery that I actually showed everybody. You know, was a big old ball of clay. So you'd be able to pinch it in with your thumb and your fingers by pressing into the center, and then once you got done with it, it'd end up into a smaller shape like you guys can see right here for those decorative pieces, or even something as large as that piece of pottery that I showed you. Now, whenever we wanted to make something like a larger scale cooking vessel that we had up here, we were actually going to use something else known as the coil method. We were going to take this ball of clay, roll it out sort of like the coils of a snake, and then stack it on top of a flat disc of clay, and this will serve as your bottom. You wanted to smooth out the inside and the outside to serve as the bottom of your pot and make sure that everything was nice and smooth in there. But if you couldn't have anything like the metal tools that we would use, you could have the inside of a seashell and actually scrape out the excess clay. But if you wanted to put designs on the outside of here before the metal tools as well, now anything like these steps we could use afterwards. But before then, we could use the seashell as a stamp and press the design on the outside, or even something as simple as the outside of a corn cob as a stamp. But if we wanted to carve our own design onto these pieces of pottery, we could actually use something as simple as the outside of a sharpened deer antler that we had actually carved. But for these pieces, you know, they could actually be as large as a trash can that we have over there, just because we wanted to be able to cook with them and be very durable and heat resistant. So especially to hold something like water, you want to take something like a fresh corn cob, place it in the mouth of the pottery, face the mouth of the pot towards the flame. And all the natural oils that will be on the inside of here, coating the inside of the pot with it, making it waterproof. But all the different glazes that we have, it wasn't done with anything like paints or varnishes. What we'll do is transfer all the natural oils on the outsides of our hands and actually transfer it onto the outside of the pottery using the smooth river stone. So that's all that's done in the outside of here. It's literally just rub the smooth rock on the outside of this clay. But the fire, that would actually be what adds our colors. The darker pot that we have over there on the very end, that's going to be a softer wood because it produces more smoke than flame. But if you wanted a lighter color like we have up here in the front, this will be a harder wood because it produces more flame than smoke to get a nice combination between the two. Like we have with this pot. It's over 40 years old. It still has a really nice combination between the two colors. So we'd actually just throw in a combination of both of those woods and end up with something known as our mottled look. But do we have any questions? Okay. Whenever we're ready, we can head on down to the next stop. That'll be wood carving down here. We can hang out with Bruce.
Yeah, I was waiting for the cornbread to come out in that. That goes way up the hill. The curb? The curb?
So this specimen does speak.
How's it going?
It's going good.
I keep quiet because she calls me pretty. Calls you pretty. She calls me pretty, so I'll let her slide. Who calls you pretty? The tour guide.
This specimen is a comedian also.
No, I just have 2 brain cells. I'm working overtime.
What's your name? This one got away.
Yeah. Do you know there was one over here?
Yeah.
Oh. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the log. That is cool.
Got the water flowing out of that? Yeah.
That is cool.
So that's got to be a stream, or what do you call it? No,
I don't know.
they had that up there where I live at. Somebody stuck a pipe in the side of the rock, and water comes out of it. And they built a little water trough, like people stop and get water, fill up their jugs.
That's neat right there.
Yeah. Clever. Got good pressure on it too. Did you see it? Look at here. Look, before you leave, look. It's like up there in the hill where you get the water. Only they put a log in the front. Oh. Now this specimen doesn't talk.
All the rhododendrons were at once.
Yeah?
Look at this thing.
I did.
Just a little piece at a time, huh?
Little piece at a time.
Yeah. You don't get in a hurry at all, do you?
No, you can't.
Yeah.
You mess it up. You get hurt.
Yeah. That looks good. Now, did you do that?
Yeah.
Looks well.
Yeah.
That's fun.
There's my lazy day today.
Yeah? That's okay, man. At your age, every day's a lazy day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been working on.
Oh, yeah.
I'm on some leather stuff.
Yeah.
Make me a little bag.
Yeah. Excellent.
Carve this down, cut this down, and make me a little bead to go in there.
Oh, yeah. Excellent.
Cut this one, but one's too small and one's too big.
Yeah, just take your time, a little piece at a time. Thanks for being here.
We were able to work with harder materials, things like hickory were able to be used where before then we were just working with hickory bark. This is a basket that was here since 1952 when we first opened. But we're actually working 4 days into the hurricane last year, so this basket was out here 4 days with us, working in the rain, working in all those harsh winds that we had up here. So it's a really nice basket, still in great condition. So we can make these basket splints out of the same materials, like sort of the sapling that we have over here to the side, no bigger than that post. We shave it down in the strips that we have, like this one in my hand, and shave down these splits to the same even width and thickness on both sides this time, just because it is a little bit more of a brittle material. Now, whenever we weave these into the different types of baskets, we have something like single woven baskets, simple over and under lattice pattern that we'll have done. Something that's still pretty complex if you're a starting, beginning basket weaver. This would probably take you about 2 or 3 months to be able to weave a basket of this size. But if you were doing something a little bit more complex, like the double woven basket, we'd be able to use this and actually start at the bottom, weave all the way around the sides, finishing back down here over at the bottom. We see these splints reaching. Now, if you wove this tight enough, you could line it with something like beeswax after European contact, or beforehand use animal fat and pine resin, and actually make the inside of this basket waterproof. Now, we didn't have anything like artificial dyes back in the day, especially with something like my basket split that you guys will see up here. You know, I have all my pretty colors on my basket. Now, we got all of these traditionally through natural materials. Now, these won't fade over time like that, or the artificial dyes will. Now we actually use stuff like a yellow root to get your bright yellow colors, your butternut to get your dark black that we have up here, and then you guys can use the walnut to get your light browns and your dark browns if you want a little bit more of a natural tone. And there is something that's not in this basket today. Our normal basket for Weaver is not here today, it's for Dana. But you can see that she has a little vial of blood root. That's going to be like a little root that grows with a nice pretty flower on the end of it. And it actually gives you those reds and those oranges from the name of it, you know. So we could all throw those in a big old boiling pot of water and leave those in there for about a week to 2 weeks. And it would soak up all the color from that water. But do you guys have any questions? And we can head around the corner over there and go down to our basket, or not our basket weaving station, our weapons station. So, especially since we have John down here hard at work, we have been making the different things like the arrowheads that you here. We can see a lot of the pretty ones that are here on display on this little red piece of cloth. And we did traditionally just use different things like the flint and the quartz that we have up here. We were also trading for obsidian that we had back in the day through contact with the Mayans and the Aztecs. We had trade routes that went as far back as 14,000 years before the Europeans. So if we needed something like this material, it's really no problem gathering it. Now, nowadays, we can use recycled glass from bottles that we find, or we can even buy commercial glass in all sorts of pretty colors. He's made me a pink arrowhead before that I've asked him for. And then all sorts of different things like that that we have are all going to be used for different purposes. This longbow is what we're going to actually have to use these arrows, and it's going to be made to the height of the user. Traditionally, we used to be about 6 to 7 feet tall, even the women were back in the day, so that's how long this bow would be. It's going to be made out of yellow locust and hickory, depending on the area that you're in. Depending on the height of the user and what you're using it for is the different arrowheads that you're going to actually be using. So whenever we're making something like a round shoulder arrowhead that we can see up here, this is actually going to be used for hunting purposes. So we can see that we have some flint or some quartz that's going to be tied onto the shaft of that arrow using something like some plant fibers that will have that mulberry root bark that we were talking about earlier. But whenever we're using this, we're actually attaching it on there so that way nothing can be able to dissolve, and that flint and the quartz is actually going to be a very sturdy material, so that way we don't have to worry about eating the bits of the arrowhead and the meat that we'll be having for dinner. Now, all the different things like the shaft of these arrows are going to be the same for both of these. They'll actually be made out of mountain cane. It's a little bit of a cousin to the river cane that grows up in the higher elevations, and it's a little bit smaller and stockier. The fletchings for these arrows will actually just be one turkey feather cut in half and then tied onto the end with some sinew. But like we talked about, those were just used for hunting purposes. Whenever you did need to go into warfare, we'd use something, if I don't knock myself on the head, like these broad shoulder arrowheads over here. So it'd be made into this shape like the one that I'm showing you now, but it'd actually be made out of something like the obsidian that we were talking about earlier. This is a volcanic glass that we have, and once we made contact with especially the Mayans and the Aztecs, we realized that this is a very fragile material. It's a volcanic glass, you know. Once it makes contact with hard bone or something like that, it's going to shatter, and it's going to cause a really nasty infection. This one is going to be attached onto the shaft of the arrow using animal sinew, so that really animal or that durable animal cordage that we'd make out of the tendons, the guts, anything that's going to actually dissolve once it makes contact with something like blood. It's going to be a really causing nasty, gnarly infection that we'll have, so the only way that you'd be able to remove it is to cut out with something like a knife or to push it all the way through. But we didn't like to use those unless absolutely necessary. We actually thought that it was cowardly to fight someone from a long distance because we really preferred hand-to-hand combat. Now, whenever we were using these, this is what my parents like to call the attitude adjuster. Parents, we sell these in the gift shops if you need one, and it'd be made to the forearm of the user because it's supposed to be personalized to you. Now, you'd make it out of a rhododendron root ball before European contact. This is something that's still going to be some pretty heavy damage that'll be done, but this is going to be a solid piece of hickory. This is going to hit a lot harder. This is something that you guys would see before European contact with rhododendron, after with the hickory up here, because it'll be made out of the base of the tree, the hardest part of that tree. But do we have any questions? John, would you do a blow-dry demonstration for us? If you guys want, you can pick at that piece of cardboard that he's got back there, and he's going to try to see if he can hit that target. See if he can get some dinner for the night. If not, that's all we got food line.
Come on, you can do it. You can do it. First try.
He's going for accuracy.
Ow. What was on me?
Nothing. Sweat beads.
Actually,
I'm sweating.
Drops down a little bit there, Granny.
because it's
There he
hot.
goes.
The green river forest.
Well, you've done a fine job.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. Do try.
Yes. That's the name of your tribe? Do try?
Do try.
Yeah.
Do try. Yeah, do try.
We have this big green mound structure. This will be our sweat house that we would stay in, our winter home. Oh yeah, of course. Inside of both of these, you're more than welcome to take a look on the inside. And all the kids, you can see that the ceiling's probably a little bit lower on the inside of this one. You guys would actually be sleeping on the top loft that's up here in the attic with all the stuff that your parents couldn't fit on the bottom floor. I do know about once a day, sir. Although I'm not tall enough to just quite reach that, but I do bump my head on that rhododendron.
Our kids did.
I'm just about 5 foot nothing. Depends on what shoes I'm wearing.
And how
Exactly how tall I want to be, you know, how proud I want to be.
Hey, come look at this. There's a cave.
Hey, what?
1750, so American Revolution period.
And what was this for?
This is our sweat house or our winter home that we would stay in. I'll explain it a little
Oh, okay. I thought you just.
bit. Oh no, you're sorry. So I'm here to answer questions.
This one's a little shorter.
Now be careful.
Yeah, you can definitely tell 1/3 scale.
See, I'm balancing. This is better than the one I
Because you guys, you said that it was like 6 to 7.
Yeah, we were 6 and 7 feet tall, so it wouldn't just be the size difference that you guys will see that this will just be 1/3 scale. It's also the height for that too, because I mean we were a lot taller back in the day. I can't imagine one of my 6 and 7 foot tall ancestors having to bend all the way over and fold themselves into the sweat house for the winter. Now, especially whenever we'd be staying in something like this building that's over here to the side, this is going to be our winter home. Now, also our hospital that we'd stay in. Now, every single Cherokee family would actually have one on the outside of their home because these would actually be used for all of our medicines that we have. Every single illness that we had in the area, we had a cure for it growing on the top of here. And I'm not sure what feather this is, but that's cool. Probably one of our crow feathers that we have. But especially whenever we're using something like this, we're actually going to be able to have this done by, you know, working together with the community, same way that we build the rest of the houses. All the family members, 10 to 12 of us, are actually putting on the dirt, rolling in the stones, and how we'll keep the building is through those stones. Actually, you know, just like a sauna. We'd actually roll them out with a couple of deer antlers and clean them up good by a fire, roll them back in there once they've gotten nice and hot, and then take these herbs for the different illnesses and then mix it with that water and pour it over top of those stones. Now we'd breathe in that vapor, sweat out whatever illness that we had, and once we had actually done that, you'd see that we wouldn't be the ones that were treating ourselves. It's going to be our family members that are keeping those stones nice and hot, because we're actually going to be asleep. You were a little bit too, and these vapors were too harsh for you to breathe in if you were awake once, so you'd actually have to go to sleep for about 2 or 3 nights depending on how sick you were, and then actually have your family tend to you while you were doing this. Now, if it's something that your family really couldn't cure, you could go to the center of the village with a man known as the medicine man. He would be our village doctor that you could come and see. He's going to have a larger version of the sweat house that we'd actually had, and all these leafy greens, we can see a little version of them actually growing over to the side of here. We have some stinging nettle that's growing all over the top that's over on that sweat house as well, but you guys can see that we have some jewelweed that's growing over here too. So jewelweed is really good for different things like bug bites, poison ivy. It's growing over on that corner of the building too as well, if you guys want to look at it. And so whenever you're using that, you can snap off the stem, rub it on your bug bites or whatever irritate your skin, and you can actually wet the juice with a little bit of that leaves and stick them on you like Band-Aids, and it'll work like a charm. I mean, that's what we use for mosquito bites all the time.
Yeah, we have a real squall coming out of there. Yeah. See?
Yeah, go up on my shoulder. She went up on my shoulder.
A cure for being a squall?
Cure for being bent over.
Oh yeah, no, that's, I blame that on Adam. Yeah, AGE, yeah.
We feed them breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but that don't stop them. We have golden trout in here, brown speckled trout, and rainbow trout. The brown speckled trout and the brook trout were the ones that we traditionally had up here in the area. The other ones we get from the local hatchery that we have up in the community called Big Cove. But if y'all want, you're more than welcome to take a look on the inside of this structure that we have over here. It's known as the 1540s house. It's not necessarily a cabin, it's what we'd call wattle and dog style home.
No, it's alive. I saw it. And I was like,
and then smear all that juices on the top of it, and then let it sit in the sun for about a week to 2 weeks. We used to have a station up here that did that before COVID, but we got a lot of complaints about the smell because it is a really rancid smell. I mean, it's real nasty, but it's real cool to watch. Yes, exactly right. So we'd actually put some cornmeal in there, some chestnuts, whatever we needed up here in the area, beans that we had dried, and we could actually make meal out of it because we didn't have anything like flour up here in the area before European contact. So even things like fry bread that we all love eating today now, those were actually foods that we got from Europeans. So whenever we were using stuff like the chestnut bread that we eat nowadays, those would be the foods that we could make again. Yeah, so this would be the nicest house that I think that we would live in back in the day, 1540s. So whenever Fernando de Soto, the first conquistador, actually encountered us living up here in this area, him walking around so malnourished that he was actually eating shoe leather to survive. So we took him into the village, we cleaned him up real good because traditionally we bathed up to 7 times a day. They didn't actually know what showers were. They thought that protective dirt layer was actually good for him. And so he was really not caring about how nice we were and how accepting of all the different things we were, all the different crafts we had. What he was fascinated in was how tall we were, you know. He called us the land of the giants back in the day. You guys can look it up in his journals. That's what he called us because we were up to 67 feet tall, even the women were. So we weaved this basket mat structure around these yellow locust saplings that we'll have on the inside of this house, because bugs don't like the way that yellow locust tastes. It's like built-in termite treatment for your building. You'll weave that single woven basket mat all over top, and then water and daub some clay on top of these basket mats, working like that concrete and rebar working together. Now we'll weave some palm fronds that are on the top of this roof. That'll actually be our favorite type of material to make our roofs out of. We could trade with the Catawba people down at the coast of North Carolina. Those are going to be some of our closest coastal neighbors that we could trade with. But do we have any questions? Let me check my smoke signals. And whenever we're ready, we can head on down the hill to our canoe station.
At the museum.
Yes, that big old wall, big old tree.
And some of our ceremonies that we perform and still do nowadays. But something like this canoe is obviously just going to be another small scale of what it used to look like, same as everything else here in this village. Because it actually used to be about 4 to 5 feet wide, about as wide as I am tall, and about 45 to 65 feet long. So whenever we were making these canoes, they could weigh about 1,000 to 2,000 pounds. They were very heavy. It took about 10 to 12 people to lift them, a whole Cherokee family. And usually whenever we'd use the base of the tree as like for a measurement, it took about 4 or 5 grown men to fully expand their arm width all around the base of the trees that we would use. So if you guys haven't guessed it, you know, we would actually use a really big tree during the first growth of North Carolina before the logging era. We actually had the tulip tree and the poplar tree. One of the big old tall leafy ones that we have growing right over here, or another tall leafy one growing right up there behind that very big bush. So whenever we're using these, the loggers actually use things like sticks of dynamite to get these trees down because they were so strong and so durable. We didn't have any tools that were quite that strong, so what we had back in the day, it was going to be fire. That was the second best thing that we had. So we were going to start a giant fire at the base of that tree, line a ring of red clay just above that fire to direct it inwards instead of upwards along the bark, since it would be fireproof. That's how we line the inside of our chimneys. We're actually going to wait about 3 or 4 months to tip it over, and if we need like food that we need extra clothes. But a lot of the times, you know, I really do not have an exact explanation on why we would leave such a big tree all the time to make such a large canoe. Because I mean, 1,000 to 2,000 pounds every single time that you need to move it. I mean, to build one, it's a lot of wood, a lot of weight that you got to build. Yeah, no, do you have any other questions? Which question, bud? So this one is just a 1/3 scale. So this one probably weighs, I'd say, about 500 pounds. But you still need a lot of people. I don't know if anybody can come up here and use this one up here. It'll probably take this whole group. But whenever we're actually talking about, you know, moving this to oneself, that's actually cool that you brought that up because there was a story about someone calling me your age. You know, there was this boy whose name was not necessarily this yet, but he got his name by hard work and dedication. He was asking his dad, hey, can I go up back? And he was being real annoying with it. So his dad was
She has the Lord.
listening to his son.
Yeah.
If you just buried this
Yeah.
tree that weighed about 1 to 2,000, we're getting the glass beads that we got from Cherokee. And it's from places like Venice, Italy, and Czechoslovakia that were really getting beautiful glass work. Now, obviously, from different places like this, we actually had to shape out the beads ourselves. You'd see that they would come in long strips, sort of like candy cane wood before they're cut out. Because we have to shape them, drill a hole in them, and be able to wear them on our necklaces. Now, traditionally, it'd be the men that was really wearing that bead part because we believe that us ladies, we were made by the Creator exactly how we were supposed to be. So it was a man's job to do all that fancy work and impress us. That's why we had the dance shows, and when all the men would be out there doing something like a quail dance, so we could do, you're going to wear all your fancy bead work, all your really bright fabrics. So you could show your woman that you're a good provider for not just her, but also for your family that you guys wanted to have. Now, we just for like a roof ceremony.
She called it Mountain Laurel.
Mm-hmm. This right here.
Mountain Laurel.
Yeah.
What do y'all call it?
Rhododendrons? Is that not a rhododendron too?
Mountain Wolf, what we call them up there. I got them all over my
It's
property.
rhododendrons. But we were with smaller leaves. What we call smaller leaves, and then we got Cherokee. So rhododendron is a big, great big clump of flowers.
Yeah.
I can't see them.
Like this right here.
Yeah.
Like that flower.
I've got them all over my property. They only grow close to the water.
Yeah.
There's no water. Spring coming out through here.
Mm-hmm.
Get away from that, and they start dying out.
Yeah, there's a lot up here.
Yeah. Go to Brasstown Ball up there in North Georgia. So you can walk under it's like a forest.
Oh, wow.
So like I was telling you guys, we had a concept of that homeless and stuff already or any sort of domestic violence back in the day. So really, if you need anything out of this building, you guys can always come and grab it as long as you come to the deposit in your phone whenever you have an excess amount. So we wouldn't put anything in here like meats or anything like that. We really talked about we had no sort of salt drying racks or any sort of like smokehouses that we would have back in the day. So what we'll put in here is furs, grains, any sort of non-perishable items like the pottery, the craft goods, anything that you can't fit in your house. This is exactly where you guys were going to put it at. So we'll actually have a lot of things in here, like all the items that you saw here on display. But if you took something, you had to place it back of equal value. Now, if you didn't place it back, you guys would actually be that one guy that's stealing from their family, because it didn't matter if you were blood related to all these people. These clanships that you guys will learn about, they're going to be cousins, you're going to be brothers, you're going to be sisters, they'll be your parents, your grandparents. Doesn't matter if they're your direct blood siblings, you guys will be all working together like a family. So you don't want to be that one guy that ends up doing that thing. So especially with stuff like this, you actually end up having to answer to someone known as the beloved women. They'll be the elderly women in the community who are very highly revered, not just because they're women, but because, if we didn't have any ladies, no babies would be born. So they're the reason that our communities are still up there going today. So they're going to be left up to decide your punishment. So that's who you guys would end up having to be really respectful to. So something like that big little triangle looking thing that we have up there, that would actually be like sort of what I'm showing you how to look like. The beloved women that you live there for like days and weeks at a time, depending on how severe your crime was.
Sorry.
So that's who you really wanted to make sure that you were being respectful to, because they could leave you up there for as long as they wanted with no food or water. But do you have any questions? Then we'll be done with the tour. I was going to say, according to my smoke signals here, I didn't yap for too long, so you guys got about the next 10 minutes to take a seat of this lecture that we have going on here. It won't be the same thing that you guys saw here at noon. It's going to be the meanings behind those dances that we had, the instruments that we would use to perform those, and a little bit about the 7 clans. So if you guys want to stick around for that, you're more than welcome to do so. But we don't have a word for goodbye in our language. What I'll say to everybody is Dedagahayu. That means until we meet again. If we don't meet again sometime in this lifetime, I'm pretty sure that we'll all meet again sometime in the next. So really hope you guys enjoyed my tour up here and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you guys very much.
Have a seat.
We go check over there.
And come back. No, I won't come back. I won't come back on.
In the center, we have a post to shield our singers from the sun and a bench for our drummers to sit. Now surrounding it, you'll notice this wall of sand. To us, this is the barrier between common ground and sacred ground. It's like the walls of a church. Now surrounding that, we have arbors like the ones you're sitting in today. Our dances could last for hours or even days. These arbors were for being ones who take a break from dancing or didn't want to participate in a certain dance, they could just sit and watch. We have an arbor for each of our 7 clans. Our clanship was passed down through our women, and women were the heads of these clans. We assembled feathers. We would use these feathers in some of our ceremonies and some of our dances, and we'll do this at a certain time of the year when that eagle would be molting. So removing those feathers would do no harm to that bird. Our paint clan were responsible for cooking these paints in my ceremony. They placed iron over to make red, these gas on fires to make black.
Thank you. We appreciate it. And we.
Heaven. Heaven.
In his eyes, stone by stone, in simpler times. It's a holy place, my daddy showed me. That before this land was mine, on the blue side of the mountain, where the sun don't ever shine. So deep and dark, like a hurt down in my heart. Maybe something there will show me some kind of sign. On the blue side of the mountain, where the sun don't ever shine. I'm going there to a world of shadows. Gotta find some peace before I lose my mind. On the blue side of the mountain, where the sun don't ever shine. So deep and dark, like a hurt down in my heart. Maybe something there will show me some kind of sign. On the blue side of the mountain, where the sun don't ever shine. Where the sun don't ever shine.
I got the coffee going this morning. Good morning. I had the most enjoyable time here. I'm glad Cindy suggested this. We took in the drama last night into these hills, which was good. It was educational. Taught me a little bit about the Indians here. Wonderful campground. This is the Happy Holiday RV Campground Village, found just outside Cherokee, and good, nice, quiet. It's full. Appears to be full this morning. And, have a good time. I got the ducks here come to visit us. Yeah. We spent Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, leaving out here Saturday morning. Got about a 3-hour drive. The only difficulty that we see is happened is that Tuesday evening, there was a landslide on I-40, and it washed out the highway again where they're working on it. So we're going to have to go a different route. But we're leaving today, heading back home. But I'm going to drink me some coffee, and I'm going to take the folks out to breakfast this morning. Mamieka, she wanted to go to a pancake house she saw, so we're going to go try that out. And Mamieka had a good time, and it's fun camping with her. Everything's exciting. Yeah, as a 7-year-old, I guess everything you do see is new and exciting. Okay, I'll get right back with you. Coffee's boiling over. It's time to take it off. That means it's done. Okay. Very good. We'll turn that off because the coffee's done. Yeah. All right. I'll get back with you on the way there. This was Mamieka's idea.
Good idea.
So Mamieka has $135 so she can pay the meal. It's her idea.
I didn't bring my wallet.
You missed the best parts.
No, we've not made it to the bottom yet. We're traveling on Highway 209 in North Carolina, trying to go around the mudslide on I-40. And it's quite an interesting little road.
give it up. All the water running through it.
Cemetery up there on the hill.
And that old house up there.
Oh wow.
You gotta climb up out of here somehow. It's 70 and 75. Is that what it said?
25.
70 and 25. So it's old Highway 70. Okay, and 25. Well, I know 25 in Colorado. I don't know. Trust. Okay, this is Junction 63. General store. Real estate office. He made the Hot Springs yet?
Hot Springs, 15 miles.
after a flat tire, blowed out tire, and stopping in Newport and getting a new tire on this side right here. Yeah, I thought we'd stop in Cracker Barrel and eat. Yeah, okay, that's where we're at, right out in between Newport and Knoxville.